If you are in a love state of being, a positive state of being, if you think things are working out, if you're going with the flow of life, if you're anticipating and looking forward to what's next rather than to wanting certain outcomes to happen, having certain desires manifest that you think will make you feel good. If you are just being present in the moment and allowing the thoughts to come, you'll receive inspiration. When you can push past the fear and act on that inspiration, it'll lead you to everything you truly want. But you cannot know what that is because, from your limited perspective where you are now compared to the perspective you'll have after taking the action, you just can't imagine it. And what you want is greater connection. What you want is aligned with your pre birth intentions and who you truly are. What you want is to shift your perspective so that you can see who you are. You can see where you're going. You can understand the path that you've been on has perfectly unfolded to bring you where you are now. That's clarity. That's connection. That's oneness. Understanding that you are not separate within an illusion of separation. This is all that you truly want, but you can't imagine it from now because, from your perspective now, with the mental construct you have, you are perceiving life in a certain way. And each of you has a unique way of perceiving life based in your unique mental construct. So the idea here is to allow yourself to receive inspiration. And how do you get there? You simply get there by noticing what is working in your life and not needing to fix or solve or change any of the conditions outside of you. You have a powerful point of focus, but often this point of focus is used on problems rather than solutions. For one who perceives that outside conditions can make them feel something, they will be in what we call a state of fear. Simply the default state in this reality, perceiving yourself as separate and not remembering who you truly are. In this state of fear, your focus automatically narrows to deal with the problems and issues in your life, to deal with the outside conditions, to control or change them in some fashion. But as you know, this doesn't work because there is nothing outside of you that you can control, that you can manipulate, that you can coerce into making you feel better because your feelings are not derived from the outside conditions. They're derived from that perspective. Shifting the perspective changes the feelings, changes the emotions, changes the point of focus. And so when you shift from the fear state to the love state, your focus automatically broadens, your awareness increases, your perspective shifts, and you see things that you could not see from the fear state. When you focus simply on what is happening in the moment and how wonderful everything is in the moment, in fact, the perfection of the moment, when you are focusing on the perfection inherent in the moment, then you are led step by step by step to every single thing you want, which you cannot imagine from where you are now. This is certainly not an easy task because there are things going on outside you that, from that perspective, you would prefer not to be happening or to be different in some way or to unfold in a way that would make you feel good. But remember, that cannot make you feel good no matter what it is outside of you. That is not derived from the outside because the outside is being emitted from the vibration you're offering within. Everything in reality is a mirror to everything in your mental construct, in your perspective, in your vibration. To change the outside conditions means inner change is required. An opening of beliefs, an understanding of the perfection, a realization of your true nature, an understanding of your pre birth intentions. All of these things are designed to move you from that fear state to that love state over the course of a lifetime. And so many of you chose to be born into situations to experience things that you would not prefer in order to come from one state to another state. When you realize this higher state of being, when you accept that you are one, that there is no separation, when you begin to remember who you truly are, you will allow the most elegant unfolding of your pre-birth intentions into the life you are living now. What does that do for you? That further expands your awareness, further expands your focus, further creates what you perceive as true joy, as true satisfaction, as true passion, finding the things that light you up. Well, if you can imagine someone who's living in the fear state with a narrow focus on problems and issues, trying to change or control the outside conditions, they're unlikely to find anything that lights them up because they're so busy manipulating what's around them. And of course, this makes sense because if you are hungry, it's due to the outside conditions. There's not food. If you have no money in your bank account, it's due to all the outside conditions, the bills and the rent and all that stuff. It seems as if the conditions can make you feel something, and this is the great illusion within the illusion of separation. The outside conditions are simply reframing what you already believe so that you can interact with that and find the beliefs that are not true, that do not serve you, that are not real. Well, all of this is a game that you came to play. No matter how your life unfolds, when you return to non-physical, you'll have an awareness of the expansive experience of this life, and you will consider it perfect. But there are many different paths that you can take in this life. And because you've reached this information somehow, some way, whether you're on this call now or listening at a later date, if you are listening to this now, something in your life has brought you here, some vibration that you're offering, because we are simply a reflection of your inner mental construct and perspective and vibration. You could have not attracted us to you without that vibration within you. So you are already on your way. And there's something about this information that's interesting to you, and you can understand it to whatever extent that that understanding takes place within your mental construct. To understand more requires an expansion of that mental construct, an expansion of those beliefs from limiting to empowering. We have stated the first words that Gary ever wrote in the first book, A Perception of Reality, is that everything is right. There is no wrong anywhere in the universe. Anything seen as wrong comes from a limited perspective. But from a higher perspective, whether that's from the non-physical or after a bit of time has gone by, everything is always, always right. This perspective has never been brought into physical reality before now. If a perspective or a concept or an idea is empowering and positive, then it is true. And you can prove it's true. Conversely, if a perspective, an idea, belief, concept is disempowering, is limiting, is negative in any way, you can find a perspective where that falsehood is self-evident. And this is the work to shift beliefs, to expand those beliefs, because all you are in this perspective that you have is a set of beliefs. So by consciously processing and analyzing and finding evidence to prove limiting beliefs are false and empowering beliefs are true, to prove limiting statements, concept, ideas are false and empowering statements, concept, ideas are true, you can rewire that mental construct, shift to a higher perspective, and emit a new vibration. That new vibration then will be cast out into your physical reality, will be brought forth as a new reality with new potential. And then the power of your focus cast on that new reality, understanding it's coming from within, understanding you're the projector and that's the screen. And you are the observer of what you are projecting onto that screen, not in judgment, not in wishing and hoping and praying things would be different, but in realizing the power of that focus to cast a image onto a screen that you can then watch and participate with. That is the magic of this physical reality. Imagine taking control of that projector. Imagine being the director of your life. Imagine watching the finest film you've ever watched and enjoying every moment of it. Imagine anticipating what happens next and being thrilled by what comes to you, because what comes to you is not possible to imagine from where you are now. And with that, we'd like to talk to you about anything you'd like to talk about. Who'd like to start?